I've read this book and I really think that any business owner, anyone who's selling a product online should be like reading it, or anyone who wants to sell anything actually should be reading it. But if you don't feel like reading it, at least watch this video. Okay, in this video I'm going to try to tell you about everything that I have learned in this book, and I have read a lot of books. So when I say that I have learned a lot from this tiny small book, I really mean it. Okay, so make sure to watch this video. I have some notes in here about things that I want to talk about, but I will try to keep the flow as natural as possible. So bear with me, okay? Let's start with the main idea of the book, so like the main lesson or the main thing or the idea behind the title. Okay, so in this book, Seth Godin is talking about the cow, the purple cow. Basically what he's trying to say that any product that you are thinking about creating or any service that you are thinking about offering has been already offered or created. So in a word as busy as this word, how you are going to make your product visible, how you are going to make people notice your product or even see it. Well, it's fair to say that this book was written before social media, because there's very slight, let's say, talk about Google, and that's it. There is no mention of Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or any of these platforms. So marketing changed a little bit after publishing this book, but still, it's so valid. So the idea is how you are going to make a product that's visible. Referring to Seth Godin, if your product is like any other product, it's going to be invisible. People are not going to even notice it. And Seth Godin focused on a very, very important idea that many brands miss and don't think about. And it is the importance of creating first a good product instead of only focusing on the marketing. And excuse me, because the use of the word good is actually wrong. Because what this book is trying to talk about, or what this book is trying to tell us, that being good or even being very good is not enough anymore. And here is the idea. In this book, Seth gives a very smart example. He says that if you have an airplane company, for example. So the voice was cutting off in this part, the original video, so I wanted to record it again. In this part, I was giving you an example that's mentioned in the book about an airplane company that has planes delivering people or taking people from point A to point B. And let's assume that this company is actually doing its job. The flights are safe, people are actually reaching point B. Would anyone talk about this company? Well, yes, the service is good. It's actually very good. It's safe. It's doing their job. But would anyone talk about it? The answer is no. Because people won't talk about something they have expected. It's expected that my plane is going to take me from point A to point B, and that the quality of the flight is going to be good, that I will be safe, and so on. So being good is not enough. And actually, while reading this book, I remember something that happened in my country, related for sure to e-commerce. So in Lebanon, we had a very famous, big beer brand, and it's called Almaza. We still have it actually. And Almaza was for years and years and years the biggest beers company, actually the only beer company in Lebanon. And we used to say that we are drinking Almaza. We didn't say we're drinking beer. We drink Almaza. Okay, and for years Almaza was taking the biggest share in the market. Everyone loves it. It was the perfect brand, so Lebanese. The advertising, everything was made so organically. People love it. They are used to it. They are okay with the prices, with everything. They loved it. Okay, and suddenly, out of nothing, a new Lebanese brand came out, and it's called actually Beirut Beer. And when Beirut Beer started, no one even expected that it's going to take any part of the market, or that anyone is going to actually switch from Almaza to Beirut Beer. It's like asking someone to switch from, for example, from drinking Pepsi and Coca-Cola to drinking something that's totally new they never heard about. Why would they? They are used to go to the supermarket. They are used to do the same thing over and over again. They love the brand, they love Almaza, they have no reason to switch to Beirut beer. But that's not true, because Beirut beer was able to create a purple cow. And the purple cow was simply a small bottle of beer that opens in a new way. So instead of having like the old way of opening the beer bottle with the opener, this one was just simply like a Pepsi can or a Coca-Cola can. You open it by your hand. And that's it. It's a very simple tweak to a product that we have seen and lived with for years. No one before Beirut beer have ever offered a Lebanese beer in a glass bottle that's easy to open. For sure, Beirut beer did much more than just simply creating this amazing twist of the product. They also made a lot of marketing, like they forced their presence everywhere. But in my opinion, what made them be able to succeed was their ability to create what I now know is called a purple cow. The success of Beirut beer seemed impossible for everyone because the full market this brand was targeting was so used to another brand. So competing with the old beer brand, with the Almaza brand, seemed impossible at the beginning. But by creating something that's new, by changing the packaging, I'm not sure a lot about like how it tastes. By changing the packaging, they were able to create something new and to attract attention. And now, fast forward a few years from that moment when Beirut beer started, now we have two Lebanese beer brands. Well, yes, it's true, Almaza, it's still, I think, the biggest in the market, but Beirut beer is there and it's competing hard. Seth Godin book is full of examples like this one. For sure, he didn't talk about Beirut beer because Lebanon is a very small country and these brands are very small, and this book is old anyway, but he gives a lot of similar examples of brands that they were able to create something new, invent something new. He even gave like instructions or tips about how you can come out with a new idea. Okay, the main idea in here of this book, I think, is that most people think about marketing after they decide to create a product, after they develop the product. But instead of that, Seth is actually inventing them to think about marketing in the early process of developing the products. And that's why he actually says in his book that any business owner now should be a marketer. And this is something that I can't agree on more. Being a marketer is now essential for any business owner in order to be able to succeed and grow the business. So if you are looking to create a product that's not going to be invisible, you need to make this product different from the start. You need to put your effort, even a lot of your budget, into the marketing phase before the product development. So into how you are going to create something that's different or new. In here there is a sentence that I want to read, and I think it summarizes everything this book talks about. Marketing is the act of inventing the product, the effort of designing it, the craft of producing it, the art of pricing it, and the technique of selling it. So how can a purple cow company not be run by a marketer? So as you can see in here, he's insisting on the same idea. Marketing shouldn't be left for the last moment. Marketing is the act of inventing the product, of designing it, of pricing it, and later on how to sell it. It's not only about selling the product later on, but also it's about creating a product in the first place that's easy to sell, a product that's not going to be invisible. So again, creating a product that's very good is not enough. What you are looking is to create something that's different, that people are going to talk about. And although this book was written ages before, I think, social media, or let's say at least years before social media, Seth talks about sneezers, and those sneezers are the people who like the products and who talk about them. And in his opinion, for a product to succeed, people need to be talking about it. So he says something actually super important. He says that ideas can spread like viruses. So your brand should be like these ideas. That's why it's super important to have a product that tells a story that's super easy for people or sneezers to talk about it. So let's talk a little bit about, for example, Mud Water. Okay, you know that I love Mud Water. It's a very famous American brand and they sell a substitute to coffee. So again, we are talking about a brand that invented something totally new and they are competing with coffee. Would anyone compete with coffee? This is by itself crazy. But this crazy part, competing with coffee, being blunt enough, bold enough actually, to offer and to say it out loud that you are offering a substitute to coffee that has less caffeine and that will give you the same energy or maybe even more energy while being healthier, it's what set their brands aside. It's what made their brand unique. So having that courage to offer something that no one else offered before or something that's new or different is super essential in order to succeed. And Seth also focuses on the idea that being the cheaper in the market is not enough. Well, yeah, for some brands, this might be a good angle, like selling the cheapest price in the market. This could be your purple cow, but this is not a healthy model because it's hard to maintain this business model. So he invites you, or he invites us actually, to think about it from a different way, to think about how to make the product different, not just because it's cheaper. Okay, so it should be different by itself. It should be offering something or offering the same thing in a different way that no one else offered before. And the story behind the product is super important because if there is no story, people won't be able to tell this story. So Mud Water, for example, summarized their story by being a coffee alternative. If someone wants to talk about them, they will say, this is a coffee alternative that has less caffeine, so you can sleep well at night and it will give you the energy that you need. That's it. A very small, simple sentence that tells everything about the product. So your brand should have a story, and this story should be easy and digestible, and people should be able to repeat it to others because this is how you are going to succeed. Well, yes, when this book was written, there was no social media, but this is what's happening now. Like a brand would go viral because it has a very good storyline. It has a very good purpose because the product is just different. Most of the time, the products who go viral are purple cows. Also in this book, the author focuses on a very important idea, and it's the following. Most brands decide to go the safest road, the road they know, the road they know people like, okay? So for example, if you are inventing or if you want to start, for example, to sell bags, okay? You would go with like a safe bag choice, something that everyone would like, something that would like blend, okay? But in his opinion, this is a very big mistake because if you are creating a product that's already out there, that is going to be like suitable for a very large audience or for everyone. So basically, most probably there is someone else who did that and you are going to be competing with them. So it's very hard because there is someone who are already, let's say, lazy and they created this basic product and everyone is already buying from them. So why would they move to your product or to your brand? So instead of doing this, he is inviting us to have more courage, okay? To risk more, okay? Not to take the safe choices, not to do the thing that we have been doing for years or that everyone else has been doing for years, okay? To set ourselves apart. And he says actually something that made me reflect a lot on myself. He says that when you are doing something that's remarkable, that's different, you are going to receive negative feedbacks. Not everyone is going to like you, and it's fine, but it means that you are doing something different. Why it made me reflect on myself? I'm not sure if you know, years ago, like 10 or maybe 12 years ago, I used to create videos about women's rights, and I'm coming from somehow a conservative culture. So my videos were actually purple cows, and I used to receive a lot of bad comments, a lot of bad feedbacks from people who didn't like my opinions. But I also used to go a lot viral because what I was offering or what I was doing wasn't common it was different. So this is what Seth is inviting us to do, is to risk more. And he said something that I really loved, and it's super risky to be safe or to stay safe. These ideas are super important because I know that many people prefer to take the safest road, to take the safest options, but this is not necessarily something good. Actually, it's something bad. Okay? If you want to stand out, if you want your brand to stand out, you need to be doing things in a different way. You need to be bolder, you need to be more courageous, you need to be able to create your own purple cow. This is really a super tiny book with a lot of lessons, and I can't wait to actually read more books by Seth Godin. I have now one ordered from Amazon, so I'm going to read it hopefully soon. Meanwhile, now I'm reading this book. It was highly recommended everywhere, actually. I started reading it yesterday and it looks very interesting. If you love this content and you want me to be sharing more content about business books I'm reading, or maybe branding books that I'm reading, or maybe sales books, please let me know by leaving a comment below and by liking this video, because this way I know that you are liking this content so I can create more and more from it. I hope this video is going to be helpful for you. I think it's loaded with information, and I think that if you actually sit down and listen to everything that I've told you based on this book, you will be able to do a lot of reflection on your business and on the way you are running your business. So I hope it's going to be helpful. Stay tuned and hopefully we'll meet soon.